Welcome again to our coverage, coming to you from Sydney's Parramatta Raceway, round 5 of the Skilled International Speedway Masters Series. Riders currently embarking on their grand parade here. And I might add, this is the first round in the season of 2000, as far as this series is concerned, where we've actually had clear blue skies. The weather has been belting this tournament around, but fortunately tonight we get some luck at long last, and subsequently a pretty good crowd in tonight at the Parramatta Raceway venue. I'm joined in commentary once again by our Speedway motorcycling expert, former international rider Rodney Colquhoun. Good to see you, Rodney. Even better to be here in dry weather.
Yeah, it looks good tonight, David. Thanks for having me along again. Really looking forward to this one. The wide open spaces of Parramatta encourages very high speed racing and a good spectacle.
This is a clay-based racetrack, which of course is, well, not the perfect scenario for Speedway solo motorcycle racing. But one of the things that's quite unique about this circuit is the fact the racetrack itself is not lined by a concrete wall on its perimeter. And that does enable the riders to let it all hang out in the knowledge that they're not going to cloud a concrete wall, as is the case everywhere else. Yeah,
you can let your hair down a bit here at Parramatta. You get, as I said, up to probably 140, 150 kilometres an hour down the main straights. And yeah, the track's clay-based, which mixed with water would form a tacky surface, but when it's dry, just a nice speedway racing surface.
Now the rider introductions. This is Sam Malenko, California's 1993 World Speedway champion, great ambassador for the sport, one of the all-time greats, and his victory at Newcastle in round 4 was quite incredible. We showed you that here on Checkered Flag about 3 weeks ago. Very popular rider, and he will receive an excellent ovation from this crowd. And as Rodney Colquhoun has already said, he is one to watch out for here. This is the current series leader from Mildura in Victoria, one of the members of Australia's triumphant World Team Cup winning squad in 1999. And he's already been certainly the man to beat in this tournament thus far. I refer to Lee Adams.
Yeah, he's riding very well, Dave, as always. Lee's a consummate professional, and encouraging signs for the future for Lee as well on the world scene.
Now the reigning world number 5 from Warrington in the UK, Joe Screen, who's been riding with injury since this series started. He was involved in an awful accident in England late last year, and that has really hampered him. He's got badly damaged ligaments in his fingers on his throttle hand. Now this is Billy Hamill, also from California, 1996 world champ. He has been outstanding in this series so far.
Yes, David, he's created a lot of interest here in Australia, and he's enjoying his time here. I spoke to him earlier today, and I expect him to give Lee a real shake for the title this year.
Won the World Team Cup on a number of occasions, a superstar of World Speedway, and is the rider many people regard as the favourite for this year's World Speedway Championship. Here's a great rider too, and he's one of our own from Newcastle in New South Wales, Todd Wiltshire, who has won a couple of rounds of this series previously, the reigning New South Wales champion, reigning Intercontinental Speedway champion, World Team Cup champion. He's got plenty of form on the board.
Yeah, Todd's story is nothing less than a fairy tale, Dave, as we all know, and he's worked hard for it and deserves everything he gets.
Now from Stavanger in Norway, Rune Holter, one of the really good speedway riders based in Europe. This is the 3rd consecutive tour down under for him, and is good on any track.
Particularly the bigger ones, Dave. He likes to, I don't know to say he likes to, but he tends to miss the start and come from behind, and real crowd pleaser.
Great weather here. Now here's one of the young wild cards. This is Ty Platt. Has not had any international experience as such, but one of the top domestic riders in this country, and he will perform with distinction tonight. I've got no doubt about that.
Yeah, learned his craft at Gosford, Dave. A good small track rider. Might find the high speed a little daunting, but yeah, talented young man. It
is the best thing about this series, isn't it, Rodney? The fact that so many of Australia's top young riders have the chance to participate at various rounds as wild cards, enabling them to ride against guys the likes of which we've currently got on screen, England's triple British champion Andy Smith. Here's the American, the 3rd American in this troop, Ronnie Corey, who's riding for the Team Titman City Automotive Group, an Australian factory team, and he'll be tough to beat here tonight. He's getting better at every round.
He's going very well, David, and there's no shortage of power in those machines he's riding either. Exceptional bikes. We've got Matty Furhan here from Slovenia. He's a tremendous little rider, and he's really turned a few heads this year, and I think he's going to be a force throughout the summer and this year in Europe.
Been good, hasn't he, in this series so far, exceeding expectations. Former downhill ski world champion, decided a few years ago he wanted to ride motorbikes for a living. He's made a very good fist of it. This is Antonin Sfarb of the Czech Republic, one of the top riders from that country, based full-time in England, and has been improving meeting by meeting in this series. He is a debutant, first time in the Masters Series, as we now look at a good mate of yours.
Yeah, Stephen Johnson, all the way from Perth, very accomplished rider. Started out in England in the early 90s, and it'd be fair to say he struggled. Then all of a sudden, just like an exploding bomb, he became an exceptional rider, and now he's one of the top-ranked riders in the world.
We'd love you describing him as an exploding bomb. Here's Jason Lyons, another member of our World Team Cup Championship winning squad, multiple winner of the Victorian title, former overseas champion, rides for Bellevue in the British Elite League. He's one of our best.
Without a doubt, Dave, he's an exceptional talent, very skilled rider and a hard man.
Nigel Sadler, rider we're going to be talking about for many years to come. Currently was third in the World Under-21 Championship last year, reigning Under-21 Australian champion. Won the Elite League Championship in England last year with Peterborough. And really, ever since the series started at the Brisbane Exhibition Ground, he has been terrific. This is the youngster, Lee Hearn, second-generation rider. Tonight having his debut meeting in this series, 17 years of age. And obviously a lot of people remember his illustrious dad, Phil Hearn.
Oh yeah, great rider, Phil, and son of another great Phil here, Jason Crump, one of the greatest riders that's come from Australia in the last 10 years, and potential world champion without a doubt. The young man knows how to get the crowd going.
Great rider, isn't he? Here's Craig Watson now from Sydney. He's the hometown hero tonight, and just in impeccable form towards the latter stages of 1999. He hopes to carry that over into the 2000 season. This is young Rusty Harrison from Gawler in South Australia, tonight having his debut start in the Masters Series 2. And the last rider in this introduction is Shane Haggerty. He's been around a number of years too and steps up tonight as the first reserve. We may get to see him in action. Not too far away now from the start in the opening qualifying heat. If you haven't seen the International Speedway Masters Series before, there are 6 riders doing battle in every qualifying heat. There are 12 heats in total. The winner of those heats will score 5 points, 4 points for second, 3 for third, and so on. At the completion of the 12 heats, the top 5 automatically go to the grand final. Next 6 go to the B final. The winner of that race goes to the grand final. And then the C final is occupied by the bottom 6 point scorers. As we now look at Todd Wiltshire preparing for action in the opening heat on the skilled Your Flexible Workforce Jower. He comes up against his old adversary, Lee Adams, on the Series 500 Jower. That is Billy Hamill on the skilled GM in the yellow-black helmet colour. So Wiltshire will ride in red, Holter in blue. Nigel Sadler will ride in the white helmet colour. Billy Hamill in the yellow helmet colour. Jason Lyons from Mildura in Victoria, the green helmet colour, gate 5. And Lee Adams, the current series leader and former 2-times champion in this tournament, rides in the yellow-black helmet colour, starting out of gate 6 on the extreme outside. Again, for the uninitiated, if you haven't seen Speedway bike racing before, we refer to colours to identify their starting position. We're talking of their helmet colour, not the colour of their bike or their Kevlars. We're set now for the first in a 4-lap journey. Away they go. Beautiful camera work on the start line. We had an eye full of Todd Wiltshire. Todd Wiltshire has an eye full of dirt, though, because he's dragging badly at the moment as he heads down the back straight. Race leader Rodney Colquhoun is Jason Lyons out of Victoria in the green helmet colour. Here comes his compatriot Lee Adams sweeping by on the outside. Yeah,
the 2 Mildura boys are at the front, David. As you said, Todd Wiltshire got an uncharacteristically bad start. Track looks a little slick, and I think Todd might be caught up in the dust storm, but there's no time to mess around because the Bullet's there and Rennie Holter, the lot. This is a world-class field.
It's a great field, all right. 6 world champions taking part in this tournament in the summer of 2000. Gee, that shot on the inside of the racetrack really gives you an idea of the speed. Rodney Colquhoun mentioned 140 to 150 kilometres an hour. That is very factual. Another fact is that these 500cc bikes don't have brakes. How scary is that? Should point out, Rodney, too, that rooster tail of dirt we can see coming out of the back wheel is actually not dust, it's sand that's been placed on top of the surface in an effort to make it, well, not quite as tough on tyres, given the fact it's a clay-based racetrack.
Yeah, and also, David, the sand's quite painful hitting you at that speed. A couple of the riders tonight have got newspaper shoved down the front of their leathers to stop what's called the sandblasting of the human body, which is not a good feeling.
Across the line, let's recap the top 3 for you in the opening qualifying heat here. Round 5 of the skilled series. Lee Adams first, Rooney Holder second, Nigel Sadler was third in a time of 72.76 seconds. 72.76 seconds in qualifying heat number 1. And talk us through the action replay.
Well, Todd got a very poor start by his standards off the inside. Rennie Holton made an uncharacteristically good start, so we had a real mix-up there. Lee Adams immediately went for the outside. I walked the track with Lee earlier, and we spoke about possibly the wider line being the go early. Jason Lyons rode a near-perfect first turn, but Lee just rode it in a little bit wider into turn 3, and as a result came out of turn 3 ahead of the pair of them. Rennie rode another good race. As always, he's a very hard trier. You'll see Jason doing nothing wrong whatsoever, except leaving enough room for the mighty Lee Adams to take him very, very cleanly around the outside. Two very keen competitors, and yeah, two of the greatest riders to come from Australia in the last decade, and both potential world champions. Whichever one of them manages to get the crown eventually, I really can't tell you, but I'm sure they're both thinking the same thing.
Lee Adams, of course, winning the World Under-21 Championship in the early 90s. Okay, here we are now. Heat number 2, Sam Ermolenko, America's former world champion, will ride in the red helmet colour out of gate number 1. You're watching Queensland's Jason Crump, currently on screen. Blue helmet colour gate 2. England's Andy Smith, white helmet colour gate 3. Lee Hearn, the youngster from Sydney, rides in the yellow helmet colour gate number 4. Rusty Harrison, green helmet colour gate 5. And Ty Platt, who in this meeting replaces the injured Mark Lemon, rides in the black helmet colour out of gate number 6. Once again, some very hot campaigners here. Good shot of the crowd in the background along the main straight here at Parramatta, and this is a real rarity. Not seeing any bad black clouds in the skies on the end.
This is about as friendly as Jason Crump and Sam Ermolenko get, David, as we've alluded to earlier in the series. They're not the best of friends, and 1 and 2 on the inside should be a good, interesting first turn. Indeed.
So Ty Platt starts on the outside. Interesting to see how he handles this appearance in the Masters Series.
Yeah, Ty did a season in the US. It must have been about 1994, 1995. He spent a summer over there, or their summer, riding the smaller tracks, and showed a lot of skill. He won an indoor meeting at the Sydney Entertainment Centre a few years back. He's got a lot of potential. Hasn't sort of spread his wings and gone overseas, but as you'll see now, he's got a lot of ability.
Okay, not far away from a start now. Heat number 2, excellent field. Ermolenko, brilliant winner of round 4. There's Andy Smith, Villawood truck sales entry, white helmet colour. The triple British champion from Yorkshire. Away they go. I'll tell you who got an outstanding start. The youngster Rusty Harrison, starting out of gate number 5. He's just 18 years of age and leads a world-class field through turns 3 and 4 the first time. And Rodney, here comes Jason Crump, giving it a handful on the outside.
Yes, David, Cyclone Crump around the outside. A great third turn from him. Rusty Harrison made an alarmingly good start. Seems to be a little bit of a pattern forming where gate 5 is very productive in the earlier stages of the race. So yeah, we'll see what happens over the night.
Here's Ermolenko on the outside of Andy Smith. So the 39-year-old veteran, that's a nice piece of riding from Ermolenko. He went by on the outside of one of them, Andy Smith, then cut back to the inside. Oh, Rusty Harrison had an off-track excursion there, went flying up to the top of the track. You're watching the Californian former world champ Ermolenko in second. I don't think he's going to catch Jason Crump, though, who's gone.
Jason's riding very well, but if you watch Sam, you'll see that the distribution of his body weight is near perfect. He rides the bike so well. Young Jason here leading and looking behind for Sam, who, as we know, he wouldn't want to be passed by, but Jason's riding very tightly. First outing this summer on a Jawa for Jason, and a successful one, so good start.
Yeah, going okay. Out of turn number 4, Queensland's Jason Crump takes a victory in heat number 2. Ermolenko was second, Andy Smith third, then Lee Hearn. Unlucky for Rusty Harrison, going really well in that race, but didn't finish so well. 74.95 was the race time. That was a couple of seconds slower than the opening heat ride tonight, won by Lee Adams.
Yeah, as I watched the replay there, Dave, Rusty Harrison actually missed the jump badly, and by the time he got to the first turn, he was in front. So there's obviously a lot of dirt off gate 5, and the riders who jumped early ended up behind him. But young Rusty was never going to stay ahead of Jason Crump and Sam Ermolenko. But in saying that, he rode a good couple of laps. Just got a bit frightened when Sam came under him at, near on 100 miles an hour. So pretty frightening stuff. But Jason rides exactly. He's obviously watched Lee in the previous heats and saw that Lee's line was the right one and rode the similar line, and yeah, very productive. Andy Smith, a better ride from him in the early stages. The 3-time British champions had a poor summer by his standards, but yeah, a better ride and a good win to Crump.
Hi, I'm Todd Wiltshire from Newcastle, Australia. You're watching the Skilled International Speedway Masters Series on C7.
Thank you, Todd. Welcome back to our coverage in round 5 of the $1 Million Skilled Series. Tonight, the action coming to you from Sydney's Parramatta Raceway. in perfect weather conditions. The first time this series in the summer of 2000 has enjoyed good weather. Moving along now to the riders in event number 3, heat number 3. Matej Fedian from Slovenia rides in the red helmet colour, gate number 1. England's Joe Screen rides the blue helmet colour. He hails from England and will start in gate number 2. Anton Svab of the Czech Republic will ride in white from gate number 3. Sydney's Craig Watson, yellow helmet colour, gate number 4. America's Ronnie Corey, you're currently looking at him, green helmet colour, gate number 5. And Perth's Stephen Johnston will ride in the black helmet colour on the extreme outside gate. Riders taking plenty of time to move up to the starting tapes here. What's going through their mind at the moment, Rodney?
Well, a few nerves, Dave. Obviously, it's their first ride of the night. They've been watching the track and seeing what's happening, seeing a little bit of dust flying, and probably a little bit nervous about getting out of the start anywhere but first, because the dust storm is a little bit hard to get through. And I'm particularly interested in the welfare of Craig Watson here. He's got a big local support and he'll be looking to turn it on.
Great shot from the start line cameras. Do you look at Fedian, was out of control. The bike was rooster tailing all over the place. That's because it really just broke traction, didn't it? And when Rodney talks about the sandstorm, he means it literally, because there was some sand placed on the top of this circuit to try and, well, minimise the harshness of the clay base. At the moment, it's looking a tad dusty. That will subside, I can assure you of that. There's Joe Screen with his familiar tasseled covered letters flying in the breeze. He runs second behind the American Ronnie Corey and now sets his sights on the American.
Yeah, Ronnie came out of the very productive gate 5 earlier there, Dave, and on the first lap he shot out of the start, but Joe Screen, a great grass track rider, as we've already said earlier in the series, is riding a very high line, much in the line of Lee Adams, and looking to ride around Ronnie. But Ronnie, as we talked about, has got a lot of power on that machine, and he's riding very neatly as well.
Yes, more riders to the small tracks of California and England. Corey doing well on the wide open spaces tonight at the Parramatta City Raceway venue. This track 460 metres in circumference, and Ronnie Corey is not going to be caught on this occasion. On the Team Titman GM, he exits turn number 4, and the American former world finalist takes the checkered flag and 5 points with him. So let's recap the results now. In heat number 3, Ronnie Corey, the American, the victor. Joe Screen from England second, and Stephen Johnson from Perth in Western Australia finished in third there. His best meeting of the series so far, a runner-up position at the Gosford Showground Speedway. That was round 3 of the tournament. Here's the replay of all the action.
It would seem, Dave, that Joe Screen's not being hampered as much by his injury tonight. The track being a bigger circuit, not so much body movement, as you see, just leaning forward on the bike and finding a comfortable position, throttle wide open, no backing off at all. These bikes will be held flat for literally the 75 seconds that the race takes. So, yeah, the engines are getting no breathing space, but Rocket Ronnie there riding a very neat line, successful on the inside, which has been unusual tonight. Joe rode what's been the more productive high line, but Ronnie was riding so tidily and using the power of that machine to advantage, and as a result has got the points, and that'll give him great confidence. He's been riding well in this series, very, very well.
Yeah, getting better at every round too. This is his second consecutive tour in the International Speedway Masters Series, debuted in 1999. Look at further replays of the way Ronnie Corey did it. Nice and low down on the inside, coming out of turn 4 to block any chance of an inside manoeuvre by Screen. And there's the pocket rocket from California, Ronnie Corey, who'd be lucky to be 5 feet tall, taking victory in heat number 3. As I've already mentioned, a good crowd in tonight. We now advance to the second round of qualifying heats with heat number 4, and Ronnie Corey returns to action here. On this occasion, Corey will wear the blue helmet colour out of gate number 2. Nigel Sadler from South Australia will wear red, out of gate number 1. White helmet colour being worn by Todd Wiltshire to start out of posse number 3. Anton Svab of the Czech Republic on the Speedway Racing News magazine Jower rides in the yellow helmet colour out of gate 4. Jason Crump, green helmet colour, gate 5. And young Lee Hearn rides in the black helmet colour, gate number 6, left-hand side of your screen.
Certainly a baptism of fire for Lee Hearn here, Dave. He's riding outside Jason Crump, possibly the fastest speedway rider in the world, and young Lee, just a youngster from West Sydney, and yeah, he'll remember this night for a long time to come.
So Sadler on the inside, well worth watching. No slouch, the youngster out of Adelaide. Good field again. Really reflects the enormous depth and quality in the field contesting this season's Masters Series. But then again, it's never been any different. There's always been a swag of world champions. In fact, in total, over the 6 years this tournament's been in operation, 15 world champions have taken part. That includes individual world champions Under-21 world champions and world team and pairs champions.
You notice there, Todd's riding the high line. He had a poor first ride. He needs to have a good ride in this one to get back into contention. And young Nigel Sadler showing him no grace whatsoever. He's giving him a very hard time. And while that's all happening at the back, Jason Crump made an absolutely amazing start off gate 5. Was literally 30 feet in front by the first turn. Ronnie Corey's riding another good race, but Jason's riding very quickly.
You've said it a number of times and chosen to use the word productive. There's no doubt gate 5 is beneficial at the moment. Normally you don't see that much difference on a clay racetrack in terms of you know, advantage at the start line, but there can be no argument. Gate 5 is the preferential starting posse here tonight. Look at Jason Crump at work in the office, blasting up the main straight. Love that shot. The camera located on the inside of the venue. You feel like you're on the bike with them.
That's a great shot, David. Again, Todd Wiltshire mixing it there. He's still in third. He needs the third to get up in the point standings tonight. Another great ride from Jason, just using his body to advantage and a nice wheelie for the crowd.
Little mono across the line. It was Jason Crump, the victor. Second place to Ronnie Corey, the American. Third, Todd Wiltshire from New South Wales, ahead of Anthony's Favre. The time, 73.02. That's the second quickest time of the night so far.
If you watch Jason come off gate, just a great jump. Obviously, he's got good reflexes, but sheer drive to the corner where the other boys are spinning. That could be due to as little as a water spillage from the water truck on gate 5. You just can't tell what's happened there, but he's got a distinct advantage over the field. Rides a high line and long gone. Once he's gone from there, he's gone. But Ronnie Corey, possibly the fastest rider on display tonight so far, was unable to reel Jason in. Jason rode what you'd have to call a near perfect race, but Ronnie never let him get out of his sight. Todd was mixing it. He probably wasn't enjoying himself as much as he'd like. He's not seeming to be as smooth as he usually is, but still a successful night for him anyway. And I'm sure he'll get better as the night progresses with the wider gates later on.
For Jason Crump, 2 starts for 2 wins. He moves on to a maximum 10 points at the completion of his 2 rides. There's obviously another 2 heat rides for him. All riders taking part in 4 qualifying heats. The promotional girls, part and parcel of the Skilled International Speedway Masters Series, tonight being conducted at Parramatta City Raceway. Great to have your company wherever you might be watching. Quickly, also on the topic of Speedway bikes, this coming weekend, round 2 of the World Speedway Grand Prix from Linköping in Sweden. You'll see the action on C7 Sport, on Optus Television and Offstar. Check your program guides, and that will be a Grand Prix not to be missed. Moving along now to heat number 5. Craig Watson rides in red out of gate 1. Ty Platt, blue helmet colour, gate 2. Jason Lyons, white helmet colour, gate 3. Yellow helmet colour will be worn by Rooney Holter from Norway, starting out of posse number 4. The green helmet colour will be worn by Andy Smith from England, gate number 5. And Matej Fedian from Slovenia lines up out of gate number 6 in the black and white helmet colour. Waiting for the start now. 500cc bikes with no brakes. Accelerate from 0 to 60 miles an hour in about 3 seconds. They're quick. Away we go. Great shot on Ty Platt down there on the starting line. Best to begin, the little Yorkshireman, the terrier from Britain, Andy Smith, although he runs up high, and Matej Fedian from Slovenia slingshots up on the inside. Here comes rapid Rooney Holder now. He moves up on the inside of Andy Smith too. So the Englishman, Rodney, got a great start, but he's back running third at the end of the first racing lap.
Yes, Davey rode a little bit tight going into the first turn and drifted wide coming out, and young Rooney Holter had his wheels in line and went straight under Andy. Andy would have been a little bit surprised by that, and Rooney Holter's got the thing wound up. He'll have his usual big gearing on, and he'll have Rooney in his sight. He'll have Matty in his sights, but it's going to be a long way to pick him up from here.
His son rider, this kid from Slovenia, in the pink leathers, Kevlars as they are these days. He's actually starting to move away, you'd suspect, from Rooney Holder. Holder yet to really hit his straps in this series so far. Has had some problems, mechanically speaking. The last couple of years has been absolutely brilliant, and as we talk, he now starts to close the gap appreciably. It's Fedian, Holter, and Andy Smith. So it's Slovenia, Norway, England.
Andy looked a little uncomfortable there, Dave, but yeah, a great win to Matty Fedian there. He'll get a lot of confidence from that, and it's not the first time he's won a race this season, and it won't be the last.
Holder second, Andy Smith third, time 72.17, 72.17. That is the fastest race time of the night so far. Well done to the young Slovenian.
If you watch Andy Smith off the favourable gate 5, he's absolutely rockets out at the start. He makes, once he gets the drive there, he's gone. He makes a fairly poor first turn by his standards, and Matty just keeps the wheels in line coming out and shoots under him. And as we spoke about earlier, you can't understate the sportsmanship, the sportsman-like ability of young Matty Ferry. And I spoke to him in England about his downhill skiing, and yeah, it's not an exaggeration. The man was very successful at it. Unfortunately, he suffered a nasty knee injury, came to the crossroads of his career as a skier and decided to go with Speedway, and I think we're better for that, because we've got ourselves a great rider from a country that's not famous for producing world-class Speedway riders. So yeah, I think and a very, very nice young man, and as we all know, he's being highly sought after in Europe by all the clubs, and if he makes it to the top in World Speedway, it will only be good for the sport, especially on a global basis.
As the slow motion replay continues, we show you the action. Parramatta City Raceway. The Slovenian Mate Fedian across the line as the checkered flags were flying. I repeat, that was the quickest race time of the night at 72.17. Now it's heat number 6. This is the final heat in the second round of qualifiers. Billy Hamill, the American, rides in red out of gate number 1. Lee Adams, blue helmet colour, gate 2. Russell Harrison, or Rusty as he's affectionately known, rides in white out of gate number 3. Stephen Johnston, yellow helmet colour, gate 4. England's Joe Screen will ride in green out of gate 5. And in black off the extreme outside gate is sudden Sam Ermolenko, the Californian freak. And I can say that without any fear of contradiction, because he has been an incredible rider, Ermolenko. Given the nature of the horrific injuries he's sustained over the years, I can't believe he continues to race at the top level in the sport.
No, he's nothing short of a warrior, Sam. He's a great man, very friendly man, very liked by the people right around the world, and I mean, he's 39 years old, but the longer he rides on, the better for the sport.
Away we go in heat number 6. You were looking at the back wheel of Billy Hamill. He went nowhere, wheel spinning on the start line. This track is fairly tricky tonight. Oh, it's very slick. Lee Adams lifting halfway down the back straightaway. He almost took Ermolenko out, but sudden Sam kept it on the gas and said, I'm going to come by past you, whether it's over you or around you. He's in second. Race leader is England's Joe Screen.
Yeah, what Lee would have done between the two heats was alter his bike to make the bike drive harder, and obviously caught him off guard a little bit as it came out of turn 2. Now he's got it in order and he's past Sam, but Lee would have possibly adjusted the timing of the engine and also raised the gearing, which makes the bike drive harder.
And all of that can be done fairly quickly, can't it?
Yeah, within the space of about 3 or 4 minutes, David, you can alter the bike's performance completely, and the track tonight is when you may be penalised for having too much power, especially out of the start with the wheel spin. So what they've done is more or less deaden the engine and give it more drive, and I think Joe's got his engine about right, and obviously apart from that, being a great rider is not doing any harm at all.
You see Screen there took his left hand off the handlebar momentarily. Not sure why that was the case, because it's actually his right hand that's the injured one. There he goes across the line with a mono to celebrate. Screen, Adams, Sam Ermolenko in heat number 6. So Screeny, he's going all right tonight, picking up a victory there. As we have a look at the action replay, watch the back straight the first time. That's where it got potentially nasty.
If you watch Lee, he turns on the inside. He's got a fairly sharp turn happening, but I mean, it's a big radius. He locks it up a little bit. He gets a little bit of more drive than he anticipated. Wheel stands. Sam's on his way down the straight. Lee almost runs into the side. It would have been a very high-speed accident, probably 130, 140 kilometres an hour there. Lee gets himself in order, probably works out what the bike's doing over the next lap, and then manages to reel in Sam and pass him quite cleanly, which is no mean feat in itself. So keeps himself in the points. Came off one of the inside grids, which are not favourable, and picks up some very valuable points for tonight's meeting.
Indeed, Joe Screen, the winner there, is now on 9 points after his opening 2 rides, a second in the opening heat, and then a victory there. Adams and Ermolenko, look how quickly they're going up the main chute here. Racetrack is what we call supremely slick in this industry. In other words, not offering a lot of drive, very, very hard. It's baked, and they'd be wearing out tyres at the moment. Don't worry about that.
You'll see the riders, the likes of Joe Screen, actually riding up near the pole that's holding up the starting post, which may look dangerous, but what they're actually doing is searching for dirt, which is a rarity on the track tonight.
Now heat number 7, this is the commencement of the 3rd round of qualifying heats in round 5 of the Skilled International Speedway Masters Series, and I hope you're enjoying it wherever you might be watching around the country. Stephen Johnson from Perth will ride in red in the red helmet colour out of gate number 1 rather. Antonin Svav of the Czech Republic, blue helmet colour gate 2. Sam Ermolenko, the American, white helmet colour gate 3. Mark Lemon is out of the action tonight, injured, so he's replaced by Ty Platt in the yellow helmet colour. Rune Holter from Norway, green helmet colour gate 5. And Todd Wiltshire will ride in black. In fact, there he is now on the extreme outside. Watch him on the extreme left of your picture. Here we go. Action about to unfold again at the Parramatta Raceway in Sydney. Rooney Holder, there it is again. Rodney Colquhoun, gate 5, clearly the superior starting alley at the moment.
Yes, we had the best start against the best starter in the world. Tied off gate 6. Tyre plate getting a little bit of difficulty there, causing a little bit of a concern for the other riders, but managed to stay on the machine, so everyone's safe at the moment.
Rooney Holder out in front, the Norwegian from Stavanger. And he's doing a terrific job, although under siege from Todd Wiltshire. And Todd yet to really fire here tonight at the Parramatta venue. I'm not sure, you know, that he's ever ridden here before.
He has. David actually rode against him in 1991 there in the Australia Day Gold Cup, a meeting which he won. He rode very, very well.
At Parramatta?
At Parramatta,
well, you've shown me up, haven't you?
Yeah, he rode there, and Steve Schofield the second and myself the third, which was probably one of my best meetings I've ever had.
Ah, that's why you remember it so well.
Not that I want to brag, ladies.
Here's Rooney Holder inside the last racing lap now. Todd Wiltshire in second place. Third at the moment is Antonin Svav of the Czech Republic. He's another rider yet to be seen at his brilliant best in this tournament. I've got no doubt it'll happen. Here's Holder, 5 points for the Norwegian. Second, Todd Wiltshire, the New South Welshman. Third, Antonin Svav of the Czech Republic on the Speedway Racing News magazine, Jower. Race time, 71 seconds neat. That is the quickest time of the night. I'll tell you what, this track's getting better.
It is getting better, David. As you see, Rennie makes a great start. We spoke about Rennie's inability to start, but as we know, gate 5 is favourable, and there's no doubt that if he gets out in front, he can beat anyone in the world. So it's not a good reputation to have in the world of Speedway that you can't gate, because Chris Horton, the great British rider, had that tag labelled on him for years and years. Never won the World Championship, and all he ever gets spoken to about whenever he goes to Speedway is, it's a shame you couldn't gate because you would have been world champion. And that mustn't be a good feeling for someone who can ride a bike as good as anybody. As we've seen there, once Rooney gets fresh air, he's as fast as anybody. So hopefully he'll come to learn how to start, because I'm sure he's one of the greatest riders in the world, without a doubt. Just a beautiful style, absolutely faultless. But he left the other guys in his wake, and fortunately for Todd, he picked up a second there, which might get him up into the reckoning later in the meeting. He needs to do well tonight to stay up in contention in the series.
Across the line they go, back into that replay. Heat number 8 is next on the program. Jason Lyons, the Victorian, rides in red out of gate 1. Lee Hearn, the youngster from Sydney, blue helmet colour gate number 2. Ronnie Corey, the Californian, white helmet colour gate 3. Rusty Harrison from Gawler in South Australia rides in the yellow helmet colour out of gate 4. Craig Watson, second from the left, green helmet colour gate 5. America's Billy Hamill, 1996 world title holder. Second in the championship, approaching tonight's 5th round. Black helmet colour gate number 6. Here we go. Racing now, and the horsepower unleashed here at the Parramatta venue. And again, gate 5. Well, it's starting to look like a bit of a mockery, isn't it? Craig Watson leads them by 10 metres going down the back straight already. Have a look at the scrap further back in the field, though. That's Billy Hamill in the black helmet colour, and the Bullet is letting it all hang out. Yes,
Craig made a great start, David. The only problem he's got is he's got 2 of the fastest riders in the world now hunting him down, and he doesn't want to look behind because it might frighten him. He's a great rider, Craig, but I mean, you've got Bullet, Billy Hamill and Ronnie Corey coming at you. It's a very uncomfortable feeling, I can assure you.
Have a look at this. The 2 Americans, no love lost. They are elbow to elbow. Corey snuck away again as he headed down the main straight. Good racing here. Young Craig Watson is the leader. The Aussie from Sydney. Look at Ronnie Corey now jumping out of the ground. He moves up on the inside, and Billy Hamill's coming too. Well, poor old Craig Watson, he thought he had it won. He's going to finish 3rd. The Americans too good. And well done to them. Great racing. Corey the victor, Hamill 2nd, Watson 3rd. How good was that?
That was a great ride, Dave. Very good stuff from Craig Watson. Fair enough, he was overtaken in the last lap, but I mean, these guys are very, very fast. The fastest in the world, in fact. And you'll see Craig make a tremendous start, as everyone else has done off gate 5. The riders on the inside not going far at all. He makes a great first turn. I think the nerves got the better of him. He rode 2 perfect laps in the last one. He just got a little bit wayward and allowed the other guys through. But I mean, you can't criticise the guy. He's stepping up into the first division for this year, and that'll give him an indication of the step he's making. He's without a doubt in the top 2 riders in the Premier League in England, but first division's another story. Another year or so, he'll be one of the top riders in that league as well, I'm sure. But Bullet Billy Hamill, you can see him at one with the bike, just a beautiful style, leaning over, utilising his body weight perfectly. Ronnie's a little bit not as pretty to watch because he's a little bit shorter, but still a very neat style. The Bullet rides up in the Lee Adams part of the track, just up on the high line. Jason Crump's made it pay tonight as well, and you can sort of feel it for Watto. He's doing his best, but he knows he's not going fast enough.
That's what it's all about, and this is where the overtaking manoeuvre came. Half a lap from home, and Watson almost caught pneumonia with the breeze. The Americans went blasting by on the inside. Corey the victor, Billy Hamill in second, Craig Watson third. An absolute beauty tonight at the Parramatta City Raceway in heat number 8 of the Skilled Series. Back shortly.
Hi, I'm Billy Hamill from California. You're watching the Skilled International Speedway Masters Series on C7.
Yeah, it's great to have your company, and welcome back to Checkered Flag on C7. We now advance to heat number 9 in round 5 of the Skilled Series. Joe Screen, the Englishman, rides in red out of gate number 1. Andy Smith wears the blue helmet colour, gate number 2 from England. Matej Fedian from Slovenia, white helmet colour, gate number 3. Lee Adams, the Victorian and current series leader, rides in the yellow helmet colour out of gate 4. Nigel Sadler, the South Australian, green helmet colour, gate 5. And on the outside will be Jason Crump in the black helmet colour. Starting from gate number 6, beside me in the box, former international rider Rodney Calhoun.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Jason goes in this one, David. We've got Lee against Jason, and Lee's been on Jawas for about 3 years now, and Jason's just taken to them this season. So, yeah, Lee would like to think that he'd have an advantage over Jason, having more experience on the Jawas. But as we know, Jason's a very tenacious character, and I'm sure he'll have his engine sorted early in the season.
Tapes fly at the Parramatta City Raceway as we get them underway. Nigel Sadler, you guessed it, gate number 5, once again leading the way. Look at this for Serious Speedway as they drag race down the back straight. They're banging elbows and rubbing handlebars. It's Lee Adams up on the top of the racetrack, Andy Smith in the centre. I can see Jason Crump, and here comes Joe Screen too. It doesn't get any better than this. Now Andy Smith makes a challenge for the race lead. He may have moved Nigel Sadler back one spot. Jason Crump in the centre of your screen. Yes, Sadler's got some problems. Despite leading early, he's now struggling.
Crump is absolutely flying, Dave. He's got the Jawa absolutely wound up. He made Lee look like I wouldn't say a novice, but Lee's not usually passed as quickly as he was by Jason, and Jason would have loved that. He's involved in a very, very good contest here with young Nigel Sadler, and it's a credit to Nigel to be mixing it with these guys at this stage of his career. It's just a great performance from him, but handy Andy Smith has finally got it together, and he's won a race, and that'll make him feel better. He wasn't that happy earlier when I spoke to him, but now he'd be a lot happier.
Wouldn't he ever? Jason Crump was second in heat number 9, and third of the checkup was Nigel Sadler ahead of Joe Screen. Should mention also the organisers of the series making a decision a few moments ago to reduce all races to 3 laps in the best interest of rider safety. This track tonight is really hard concrete-like. They were wearing out tyres, and all riders concerned about actually blowing tyres. So the races have been reduced from 4 laps down to 3. Tell you what, it hasn't done the racing any harm. If anything, it's better.
It was a great race, Dave, that one. What actually happens, Dave, if a tyre does blow on a speedway bike, as you're sort of using the engine to steer, what will happen is as the tyre immediately deflates, the bike will straighten up, and I mean, on a usual speedway track with a concrete wall, that would mean a very nasty accident. Fortunately, here with no concrete wall, you may just run off the track, but a good decision by the promotion.
Heat number 10 is next. This is the commencement of the final round of qualifying heats. Repeating, the top 5 riders and the points at the completion of the 12th heat go automatically to the grand final. The next 6 go to what is called the B final. The winner of that does take the last transfer spot in the grand final. So some important racing here in the final round of qualifying heats. In heat 10, Lee Adams will ride in the red helmet colour from gate 1. Jason Lyons, blue helmet colour, gate 2. Rune Holder from Norway, white helmet colour, gate 3. Wiltshire in the yellow helmet colour, gate 4. Billy Hamill, America's former world champ, green helmet colour, gate 5. And Nigel Sadler returning for action here. There he is now in the yellow black helmet colour, starting out of gate 6. Extreme left-hand side of your screen. Racing hotting up here tonight.
You travel a long way to see a better field than this in a race, David. This is just tremendous. Todd off gate 4 and Bullet off gate 5. Gate 5's been advantageous so far, but can the master of the start make it different this one? We'll see how Todd goes.
Every rider in this race has finished on the podium in the World Speedway Championship, either at senior or junior level.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
I mean, please tell me, I mean, this is a red-hot field.
This is tremendous. Really, really good.
The field contesting this year's series, all 18 riders, probably the best ever assembled in the history of Australian Speedway motorcycling. Away we go. And a very good start by Billy Hamill. He hasn't shone here tonight, Rodney. He struggled a little bit with machinery or something. He's been outstanding at the previous 4 rounds. And this is a sight that we've been used to seeing. Billy Hamill out in front.
Yeah, good ride for Billy this time. The 1991 Gold Cup that we spoke of earlier, though, Billy actually rode in that meeting, and he was unfortunate enough to run off the track at very high speed. If my memory serves me correctly, he may have even broken his arm in that accident. So a little bit of a psychological barrier with the track, but it's a lot slicker tonight. It was very grippy that night, and yeah, he's got it together now. I mean, he's a world champion, so no track will face him in the world. He's got the mighty Todd Wiltshire after him. Todd's riding very, very neatly and quickly as always, but Billy's like a little grey, not a greyhound, like a little Rottweiler. He just goes and goes and goes and never gives up. And a great ride by him, another win, very good.
Interesting analogy there. Across the line, Hamill, Wiltshire was second, Nigel Sadler third, time 55.44 seconds for the 3-lap journey in heat number 10. Again, though, Rodney, gate number 5, it's the place to be tonight.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say, Dave? If you've got gate 5, you've got a distinct advantage. Sadler made a good start off 6, but wheel stood and then decelerated, nearly went over the handlebars, which was a little bit untidy. He still slotted back in the 3rd. Todd had every opportunity probably to chase and hunt down Billy and get him, but as we know, Billy's a class act, and he's well and truly over the injuries he suffered in 1998, and now he's a real force to be reckoned. Todd had every opportunity probably to chase and hunt down Billy and get him, but as we know, Billy's a class act, and he's well and truly over the injuries he suffered in 1998, and now he's a real force to be reckoned with back in World Speedway, and a former world champion, and maybe 98, and now he's a real force to be reckoned with back in World Speedway, and a former world champion and maybe a future one.
He wants it badly, no doubt about that. This is heat number 11, Ty Platt, the youngster from Sydney, rides in the red helmet colour out of gate number 1. Rusty Harrison, even younger still, from Gawler in South Aussie, rides in blue out of gate 2. Jason Crump, the Queenslander, white helmet colour gate 3. Ermolenko, the American, yellow helmet colour gate 4. Lee Hearn, green helmet colour gate 5. And Andy Smith from the extreme outside. What a start by him in the white and black helmet colour. The only English rider in the history of the World Grand Prix Series to qualify for that World Championship event every year. Gee, Jason Crump starting to warm to these Dowers, or they're warming to him, I'm not sure. What about this performance by Ty Platt up on the inside of the former 2-times winner of the British Grand Prix?
Yes, Ty's been threatening to do something like this for about 10 years now, David. He's been around, he's been in and out of A grade, and he's up and down, but I mean, as we said earlier, his mechanical woes have been well documented, and finally he's got some power underneath him, and he looks the goods. It's good to see, and he might have a future in the sport.
Andy Smith, making every post a winner here, has performed well below expectation and his own ability in the opening 4 rounds of this series. Tonight we get to see the real Andy Smith in action. Gets the checker and the 5 points in heat number 11. The time was 55.32, a little quicker than the previous heat won by Billy Hamill. So Andy Smith, at long last, getting it all together.
Yeah, a great ride from Andy. He's ridden a lot better tonight than he has previously in the series. I spoke to him earlier. Apparently, before he came out on the trip, he had a falling out with his engine tuner, and as a result, he's a little bit unsure about his machinery, and it's played a little bit on his confidence. But obviously, it's not his bikes. His bikes are going fast. He's just a little bit down on himself, and once he saw a bit of daylight, he was gone. And as we spoke about earlier, young Ty Platt mixing it there with the man I would consider to be the fastest rider in the world on his day, without a doubt. And I mean, that's got to do the young bloke the world of good. And as we talked about, if you can get this back into the press in England, that a young guy's racing with Jason Crump, it's going to make the phone ring. People are going to want him to go to England.
Well said. What it's all about. And there have been many other riders that have ridden in this tournament in previous years that did get noticed in this event. Craig Watson is one of them. The telephone started ringing. Here we go now, heat 12. This is the final qualifying heat. An important one, particularly for Ronnie Corey and Joe Screen, whom, if they do both finish in the top 3 here, you'll find should have enough points to qualify for the grand final. We'll check that for you at the end of this race. Saab from the Czech Republic, red helmet colour gate 1. Ferrian from Slovenia, blue helmet colour gate 2. Johnston, the West Australian, white helmet colour gate 3. Corey started in the centre in the yellow helmet. Joe Screen, gate 5, green helmet, and he got an ideal start. The other rider is Craig Watson, and that's Watson now in the black helmet colour on the outside of Ronnie Corey. But the order at the completion of the first racing lap is Screen, Watson, Corey.
Yeah, we have at the front there, we have probably two of the most spectacular riders in the world in Craig Watson, although not as experienced as Screen, just a great competitor and a real hard try. You'll see him, he never gives up, he just race. Had a little bit of a reputation as a crasher, and I don't know where he got that from. He had a few accidents, but nothing that a Speedway rider doesn't have. And I mean, I really like the guy. I think he's got a big future in the sport, but Screeny's just riding away from him as he does. I mean, he rode for Bradford for about 5 years, and the track there would be slightly smaller than this, probably 100 metres shorter, but big by English standards, and he's just riding a very neat inside line, wheel standing for the crowd, a real showman.
World's greatest Speedway showman. I believe Joe Screen took victory in the final qualifying heat. Watson second, Ronnie Corey third. Now the 3 points Ronnie Corey picking up there moves his total to 17 for the night. He is the top qualifier, so straight through to the grand final, as is Joe Screen. Now this is the B final for the next group of riders. And this event will be contested by Sam Ermolenko, red helmet colour, Billy Hamill, blue helmet colour, Craig Watson, white helmet colour, Nigel Sadler, yellow, Lee Adams, green helmet colour, and Todd Wiltshire, yellow-black. Adams is starting out of the preferred gate number 5. Highly advantageous here tonight at Parramatta Raceway. You'd think he's going to prove very hard to beat here tonight to move into the grand final. Rooney Holder, Andy Smith, Joe Screen, Ronnie Corey and Jason Crump have all 3 qualified for the grand final. Oh, big will stand there by Nigel Sadler, but Lee Adams, Rodney Calhoun, once again he flies out of the traps, is going to prove impossible to catch, and if he can stay there, he'll get the final transfer spot in the field to contest tonight's grand final.
Yes, Dave, he came out of the start like a bullet. I see Todd Wiltshire riding at the back. It's not going to help his series chances. He got a poor start. I mean, you can't blame the guy. It's been a bit hard to get off the other starts, and Lee's long gone, but I mean, 5 of these riders will be in the top 15 in the world, and very rarely you'd see them in a B final. It's very, I mean, it's a credit to the series to have riders like that in a B final.
Craig Watson second. That is Billy Hamill back further in third. So Billy Hamill, for the first time in this series in the summer of 2000, will miss a grand final berth. He's been on the podium at every round so far. That's not to beat tonight. Lee Adams has also been in every A final, and he's going to be again tonight. By winning the B final, he takes the final transfer spot. Great job tonight, Craig Watson. Second in the B final means he finishes 6th outright in the meeting, and that's a big effort.
Lee absolutely flew from the start. If you watch what Lee does, earlier in the meeting he was riding a high line. What's actually formed now is a blue groove on the inside. Lee's using that to his advantage. He's got probably about 4 to 5 pounds in his rear tyre, almost a flat tyre, just to get sheer drive and get the black rubber on the black rubber that's been laid on the track, and as a result he's just absolutely flying.
So now it's time for the grand final in round 5 of the $1 million Skilled International Speedway Masters Series. The field will be Lee Adams, red helmet colour, gate 1. Rooney Holter, the Norwegian, blue helmet colour, gate 2. England's Andy Smith, white helmet colour, gate 3. England's Joe Screen, yellow helmet colour, gate 4. America's Ronnie Corey, green helmet colour, gate 5. And Jason Crump in white and black on the extreme outside, gate number 6. Corey, the top qualifier, he had first choice of starting gate, and obviously chose gate 5. It's the place to be. We send them on their way now in the big one tonight at the Parramatta Raceway. The American Ronnie Corey got the very best start. Jason Crump quickly away into second. Who's that third? It's Andy Smith from Yorkshire in England. His compatriot Joe Screen right behind him. And here's the Norwegian Rooney Holder on the inside. And Rodney Calhoun, Lee Adams is last.
Yes, David, I think this will be the first time in Lee's career he's had 5 riders in front of him, but as we said earlier, he's riding the inside, getting the blue groove, and it may pay because the other riders haven't picked up on it just yet. They're still riding the high line. Lee's just ridden on the track in the B final. He's got to work out where the track is working and where it's not, and he may be able to pick up a couple of spots if he's lucky.
Look at this action at the Parramatta Raceway. Great shot on the inside. This is where the maximum series points are up for grabs in the championship. It's where the big dollars are up for grabs too. In prize money terms, it's going to be the American Ronnie Corey tonight, no doubt about it. He'll break through and win his first ever round of the Masters Series, and does it emphatically. Jason Crump was second. Across the line, you'll find in third was England's Joe Screen, all the way from Warrington. Well, round 5 victor at Parramatta, Ronnie Corey. We've now had 5 rounds completed. You're the 3rd different winner and getting quicker all the time.
Yeah, well, things are coming together for me now. Like I said, I'm starting with Kevin Tippman. He had 2 new bikes and new things, and I'm starting to get an idea what they're all about and get used to the bikes. And I'm going forward, I'm making gates, and I'm feeling a lot more confident. So if I can keep that going the rest of the series, I'll be quite happy about that. And it's good for me tonight because it puts me up in the points a bit more now, and kind of gives me a chance to catch up with the other ones really at the moment.
It sure does. I know you had high expectations with your own performance this summer, and you've certainly managed to
to hook into a very competitive team, obviously an Australian team at that too, with the Titman team operation. Yeah. It's working perfectly.
It is. It made it so much easier for me to come over here, you know, with Mitsubishi coming and giving me a van and be able to do my own thing, and Kevin and his dad John, you know, coming in and giving me 2 brand new complete bikes, tuned to the best. I mean, they're probably the quickest things I've ridden in a long time, and they're definitely got plenty of power. It's just a matter of me going out and doing the business, and I'm glad I'm doing good now, because the first couple rounds it's a bit packed because I wasn't quite getting used to it. I wasn't making the gates, and I was getting a bit, you know, frustrated, but I think I've calmed down now, and I got an idea what's going on, and things are starting to come together for me, and I'm starting to feel really good. And it's good to just calm John down too, the moment Kevin Titman's dad, and he was getting a bit wound up, and he was making me feel a bit wound up. So after that, I think he'll calm down, and everybody will just kind of come together a bit more now.
There he is, Ronnie Corey. Rodney Calhoun, nice to work with you again tonight.
Thanks for having me, David.
Ronnie Corey, the victory in round 5 of the Skilled Series. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next week on Checker.